prediction segment on The Fan. Brought to you by Continental Diamond. Now, to help you break down this week's games, here's your favorite NFL wonk, Dan Barrero.
Well, it is that time again. If you have, occasionally it will include questions that you might have for our very special guest, Carl Gerbschmidt. So hit the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line, which is 64686. Gerby joins us via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. I hope we didn't screw up your schedule by delaying your visit from the customary 3:30. I thought I punched you up. Maybe I didn't. Carl, can you hear us now?
I could hear you before. You just couldn't hear me.
Yeah. Are you bitter?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
No. Well, I mean, it did delay my schedule, but, it's Friday, and it's been kind of quiet, close to holidays. So, I'm okay doing this. I don't want you to make it a habit or anything.
Well, we had the opportunity to spend some time with Riverboat Ron Rivera. Do you remember him?
Yeah, sure. He's a coach for the Bears.
Yeah, very good. He was he was a head coach. He played for the Bears.
For a lot of other teams. He was kind of a loser.
Wow, that's not very kind of you. He's a loser.
Well, I don't know. What's his overall record, Dean? I don't really know.
As a head coach, he actually had great success in Carolina before it went south. Washington the entire organization was a disaster.
That team is confused.
They're better now, obviously.
They don't even know what they want to call him.
They don't even know what city they're in. But I assumed that you would probably dismiss him because I don't think he ever played for the Packers or had any Packer connections.
No, he did not play. No. Look, Dan, I have an open mind, as everybody knows. I think
You what?
You can have an open mind.
You do, okay.
Yeah, there's no question.
You have an open mind.
And you have to be, not everybody was good enough to play for the Packers. So it's okay.
Well, Ron Rivera he was a good pro player. He was good enough to play for you. You just never had. He played on the 85 Bears.
You just don't have a real good understanding of our roster and stuff.
Okay.
So no, we never could have used a player like that.
I see. Okay. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's sad. I mean, that you.
It's not his fault.
You're so myopic.
You don't need to feel bad about it. It's not like you don't need. It's just you learn to be kind of you got to take things as they are, Dan.
Do you realize how myopic you are?
I'm a what?
No, not you. How myopic you are.
Myopic?
Yeah. You know what it means?
Does that mean like nearsighted?
In a sense, yes.
Oh, I'm not.
Okay. You're not.
I'm farsighted and I've had LASIK, so I'm okay.
Okay. What is going on? You got another.
What Rivera has to do with anything?
Well, he's a part of the Army-Navy weekend celebration. Big game, big traditional rivalry.
Is he in the Army?
You're not much of a patriot. No, but his father was. His father was a decorated and honored.
My father was in the Army, too.
Okay.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was in the Army.
I thought...
He didn't used to like to talk about it.
Didn't the troops turn on him? I thought there was some sordid story.
Dan.
No?
No, Dan.
His own troops didn't? Oh.
No, he served overseas.
Okay.
I'm not sure where.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like Vietnam.
Okay. Would have been after that, probably.
No, it was before then.
Oh, before that? He's that old, huh? You're older than I thought.
I was born in 1969, Dan.
Oh, okay. Oh, that means 69?
Yeah, it's one of the. Don't you remember Ice Bowl exhibit?
That's true. Yeah, you're right. How can I forget?
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
This looks dangerous.
Holiday extravaganza.
I'm looking at the site.
Holiday extravaganza.
PackaFanConnections.com.
Sledding, snowball fight, sleigh ride, gift exchange, mistletoe. Then we wassail.
You're burying the lead. It's the PackaFanConnections.com holiday extravaganza.
Yeah, well, it's all part of that extravaganza. Boy, this looks really special.
All this stuff is happening all at the same time, the same day. And I'm telling you right now, it's selling like hotcakes.
Of course it is.
It's just on fired, Dan.
Despite-
We're going to sell this baby out.
Are you worried about lawsuits again?
No. We are protecting ourselves. There are some waivers involved. So,
What does it mean? The headline reads, "Then we wassail." What is that? Am I pronouncing that right?
Wassail, Dan.
Wassail. And what is it? And what does wassailing mean?
What's that?
What is wassailing?
It's Christmas carols.
Wow. Why don't they just call it that? Can you keep my photos out of your little... I don't get a dime, any kickback, and I'm sick of seeing me in any of these photos with these silicone-enhanced women.
Do you have something against them, Dan?
I might have something against big-breasted women, correct. Especially if it's artificially enhanced.
It's a little strange to me that Dan is the only male pictured in this.
I ran out of pictures, okay? I used an older picture because that lady is not dressed up for waspling.
Well, I wouldn't think so.
Not in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Maybe somewhere down south where the weather's a little bit better. But it's all women on this.
Literally.
Even they're tobogganing together.
And they all are exhibiting and revealing, well, I shouldn't say all, many of them, winter cleavage.
We find that it fills up faster that way.
Yeah, I would think so. But again, isn't it mightily...
The outdoor pictures are all dressed pretty warm.
Mightily deceptive.
There's one that's a little exaggerated.
None of these women will be participating in the holiday extravaganza.
We don't know. I don't have a full roster yet.
No, the answer is you are correct, Dan. Just say it. Just be honest.
Right.
That they're not any of these women photographed.
If they don't get signed up in time, they won't be. That's for sure.
Definitely not the one that's on the
This one lady has got
caboose.
plenty of clothes on. I don't know what you're talking about.
Where's the caboose? Caboose?
Well, whatever that.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a Christmas train?
That's the trailer. That's the party trailer.
She's not coming.
No, she ain't there. There's no chance.
So, I don't know. Maybe she is.
Yeah, no, she ain't. She will not be there.
There's a
I think
baby
those are
that
all
there's a
sisters,
baby
to be
that
honest with you. In that picture, I think that's sisters.
whose baby looks like Jordan Love.
It's not a live baby. It's a baby that looks like Jordan Love.
So you're not making
You
an
can't
actual
leave
baby?
a baby outside, Jordan. You can't do that. That would be stupid.
Is that the Polar Express she's on the back of?
No.
Oh.
That's the party bus.
That's the party bus. Okay, that's
the
a bus.
trailer, actually. It's not even a bus.
Well, I thought it was a train. It looked like a train to me. Like the caboose of a train.
No, well, it's kind of made up to look like
Are you
that.
worried about the mistletoe thing? Because that can get problematic. Because sometimes there are sadly males who will attempt to insist, under the mistletoe, so I get to kiss you, as an excuse for perhaps going over a line that many women would be offended by.
We're talking about Randy specifically.
Yes.
To be clear.
Listen, I think everybody, like at holiday time, tries to have some restraint. I mean, even Randy used to be bad with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he would walk around with it, and he would. Randy thought it was funny to just, like hang it from his belt, and I said, that is not cool.
No, it's
That's
not.
not funny. It's not funny.
No, it's embarrassing.
But that's Randy. So, he doesn't do it anymore. Randy has become much more enlightened as the years have gone by. Did you see that's his picture on there?
It is?
He's right there with the ATV, yeah.
What?
That's Randy.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, it says Randy.
That is,
Oh, you're right. It does say Randy with the big G in the background.
yeah.
Is that for Gerbschmidt or for Green Bay?
For Green Bay, Dan.
Oh, okay.
It's
That's
the
Randy?
Interactive Iceberg Exhibit.
He looks
Festival
tall.
of Christmas lights and some Hanukkah.
Has he lost some weight?
Well, he's got a lot of clothes on.
Maybe that's just the layers. I also noticed, by the way, you have the form to fill out. There's an I like to drink deal where you select an option on what you like to drink, and here are the options.
I'm not seen that yet. Randy did that.
Well, here's the options that are offered to the participants or would-be participants: beer, brandy, whiskey, vodka, hot buttered rum, spiked eggnog. spiked eggnog and yes. The last option is yes.
Yeah.
Just an interesting way to, I guess, pound home the point that
that's been chosen a lot as I look over these.
I'm not
songs.
surprised. That's probably the option you would select.
Did you see the Wassail songs we were singing?
No.
Yeah, we put the list on there so people could learn them.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Wonderful Christmas Time. Yeah. Baby, It's Cold Outside. Male and female parts separate. I don't think you can do that one anymore. Didn't that song get canceled? Baby, It's Cold Outside.
Well, it might be the censored version.
Only on the radio.
Mistress for Christmas, AC/DC?
That was a request.
Yeah.
The song by AC/DC. Apparently, they did a Christmas Carol.
Yeah, well, sounds like it. Listen, we got a break, and then we're going to come back with a little more on this nonsense, and then we'll come back with the picks too.
Randy, there's a damn typo on this page.
That's Carl Gerbschmidt. Part 2 with him, Lavelle at 5:30. Part 2 with Carl Gerbschmidt via the Connecticut Water Systems Hotline, brought to you by our good friends at Continental Diamond. What was that?
Was that the AC/DC song?
That might have been it.
Yeah,
on the podcast.
That's a pretty good song.
What is your favorite Christmas song?
Mine?
Yeah.
I like Up on a Housetop.
What?
I like Up on a Housetop.
I don't think I know that one. Who does that?
Up on a housetop, reindeer pies, out them good old Santa Claus.
That's okay.
I did a song for you guys years ago called Over in the Metrodome to that song.
I remember.
Notice you don't play that on your show.
Do we still have it somewhere?
We might.
What about Good King Wenceslas?
He's okay.
Okay.
I've been advised by my legal advisor, because we're talking about the extravaganza, that there are some forms you have to fill out, some legal waivers.
Yeah, where
you have to,
and you know what?
If you fall off your toboggan and crash into a tree, we're not paying for that.
I think you should.
No, that's why we signed.
Well, no, because I think you're encouraging, I think, fairly reckless behavior based on what the photos reveal.
Yeah, sledding is fun.
Yeah, but
you probably didn't enjoy it as a kid.
Rosebud.
If you've had,
there's limits.
You had a couple cocktails, and you go sledding, it's even more fun.
Yeah, but a couple cocktails also means there's a better chance something bad's going to happen, and you shouldn't be let off the hook because
legal waiver.
I would not sign the waiver.
Well, then you don't get the sled.
That's fine. Then you're not going to get any.
Stand there and watch.
You're not going to get any business either.
Big bump on the law.
You're not going to get any business.
People are going to be impressed with you.
I hope nobody shows.
One guy standing over there with the wine cooler.
I hope.
Oh, that's Burrow. He's not fun.
I hope nobody shows up. That they all refuse to sign the waiver, because then you don't make a dime out of this thing.
Dan.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid, okay? You think we're that dumb? When we accept payment, we also make sure that you have to fill out those forms.
Of course you do. Yeah, that's the sad part of it. But I don't think that even comes up till after they got the money. Then you go, by the way, you need to sign these.
No, Dan, we're not trying to cheat anyone.
No, not you.
I am very offended by your insinuation.
Yeah, I don't know why I would insinuate such things.
I don't either.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it? By the way, we have this is a big lock of the weekend because
I heard that. Yeah,
Vikings have a home game Monday night hosting the Monsters of the Midway.
You got all the easy games.
Bless you.
How easy is easy?
It's an easy game.
Oh, even you're admitting that.
They don't care.
But let's explain the Gerby lock of the week. Yeah. If you are a winner, in other words, you're going to give us your lock, and if you play along at home via Twitter, you use the hashtag.
Or in your car.
Gerby.
You don't have to play at home.
That's true. Gerby lock of the week.
In your office.
You acknowledge what that pick is, and then you're immediately part of a drawing in which the winner will receive a pair of tickets to see in person at the People's Stadium, the bird-killing stadium. The Vikings host the Monsters of the Midway. We maybe don't
and
need
when
to
you're
sound
there,
it, do
you
we?
can say thank you.
It's up to you for the winter whiteout game. Your favorite game because of the aesthetic.
Yeah,
of the white snow.
We're doing a whiteout this week in Seattle.
I like I don't like forcing fans to wear white. I do like the uniforms. I think they're very sleek
do look
looking.
nice.
They're very classy looking.
Oh, you don't want to participate, wear white, Dan?
I've done it, but it's boring.
You don't have to sign a waiver or anything, Dan. You're allowed to just wear white.
Well, no, you're not allowed to. You're forced to.
How is it you don't like fun? You hate fun, don't you?
I do, very much so.
Is this Christmas season painful for you, Dan?
Don't even. You're a fraud. You know how you define fun? Making money off of other people, and in many cases,
money is fun, Dan.
In many cases, by deceiving them about what women are going to be showing up at this event.
Honest.
Yeah, that's real fun.
We're being completely honest, Dan.
Okay.
Dan, you know how many events we've done now? We've done 3 events. You know how many complaints we've had, Dan?
Yeah.
1.
Well, yeah, you went to court for that one. That's a pretty big one.
That's a pretty big misstep.
Yeah, and we won.
I don't think you won. I still don't think you won.
I can't find the case.
Why don't you sum up those court records to see who won?
Are you going to give us your lock of the week?
Well, you're darn right I am, Dan, because I'm generous. And I like fun.
Oh, my God.
Okay, here it is. It's tough because I really, 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 really want to do Baltimore and the New York Giants. But the spread is like 16.5. It's just like, something weird could happen. So I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to do the other one I think is pretty easy because I think Tennessee kind of quit. Cincinnati, by the way, is 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 games on the road. They're 6-1 when they're playing last 7 games playing Tennessee. Now, the record before then wasn't very good, but it's good now. So Cincinnati minus 5.5 over Tennessee.
Cincinnati 5.5 over Tennessee. The
minus
Gerby
5.5.
Minus 5.5. The Gerby lock of the week.
Gerby lock of the week.
Great chance to get free tickets to the Monday night game, as we like to say in the business.
And you can say, thanks so much, Carl.
No, not really. Let's get to the ball game, shall we? Lions hosting the Buffalo Bills. Lions are favored by 2.5. I'm going to make this short and sweet. The result Vikings fans are clamoring for is going to happen.
Wow.
The Buffalo Bills will go into Pontiac and knock off the Detroit Lions. Because 2.5, you'd say, well, that's easy in a way to take Detroit. I think Buffalo's going to win the ball game. I guess Gerdsey, you and Gerby both now are two games ahead of me at 23 and 19.
Oh, I'm in first place.
You're tied for first with me. You were 2-1 last week, so we'll let you go last this time. You've earned it. I've been going first for like 3 months.
All right, Gardsey, you're next.
I'm like the Timberwolves last season. I've been 1 seed forever, and now I'm just coming back to the pack. Towns gets traded, and I'm dead. I'm going to wager with my heart this week. I am in all my picks this week because we've got another game coming up. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. Buffalo will go into Ford Field and knock off the Lions and put the Vikings in position to steal the division in the final couple of weeks.
Carl?
I hate when you guys copy me in advance. So
you want to go first, you can.
Detroit's too hurt. They're hurt right now. And Buffalo is better than they are at this point. So we'll take Buffalo.
So it's unanimous there. Second game, Packers at Seattle to take on the suddenly surging Seahawks. The Packers are favored, on the road by 2.5. Seahawks, I'm sure, are using that as bulletin board material. Gardsey, I'm getting the hint that you there are going to take Seattle because you want to see the other NFC North teams stumble.
Yes.
I think you're going to be right on Detroit stumbling. I think you're going to be wrong on Seattle stumbling. I should say Seattle winning. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to knock off the Seattle Seahawks, and you're looking, obviously, for the Packer loss.
I am.
To help the Vikings cause. Green Bay will win that game, and they will cover.
It's not even so much that I want to help the Vikings cause as much as I just want Green Bay to continue to lose and not think, last couple of weeks, maybe we got a shot.
Understandable.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Why do you hate Christmas so much?
I love Christmas.
No, he doesn't.
Especially
when there's no snow on the ground. Especially
a nice, warm, dry, brown Christmas.
Like Christmas.
I love it. Seahawks are going to win. Low cloud cover. The 12s. Jordan Love or the baby that looks like Jordan Love that Gerby's parading around at their next event is not going to be able to handle Seattle.
You're not parading him around. He's just part of the manger scene.
I'm taking the Seahawks. I'm willing all of this into existence.
With a fake baby in it.
Carl, are you leaning Green Bay in this game?
When your back's against the wall, right now our back is against the wall. We're back against the wall time. I don't like being back against the wall against Seattle because Goodell loves Seattle. Always finds a way, immaculate reception, onside kick, all those things. He loves Seattle, loves them, and so it's tough when your back's against the wall. But you know what, Dan?
What?
That's when true warriors come through. Winter Christmas warriors. We're gonna wear white helmets. We're the good guys. We're gonna win this game. Like I told you, we're gonna catch Minnesota. We're gonna finish ahead of Minnesota.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
I told you so last week.
Vikings are hosting the Bears on Monday Night Football. I think this is the easiest one of the three that are included on our picks list. Minnesota will have no difficulty covering the spread. The Bears' defense collapsed last week against San Fran. Believe it or not, the Bears might not miss their head coach as a head coach, but they do miss him as a defensive coordinator. Vikings will move the ball at will. At will. Darnold might get 6 or 7 touchdown passes this week. Minnesota will easily cover the 6.5 over the Bears. Gerdsey?
Agree with all of it. In front of a whiteout crowd, possibly
Festive
blacked out fans.
Crowd.
They're going to be feeling good because the Bills will have knocked off the Detroit Lions, so they're going to be ready. I don't know who's doing the skull chant. Doesn't matter. Vikings will have no problem winning on Monday night.
Carl?
So you guys are doing a whiteout, copying us? Okay, all right, that's fine.
When have you ever done a whiteout?
Everybody's doing a whiteout.
We're doing one this week in Seattle. We have white helmets.
Oh, okay.
That's exciting.
That's cute.
No, it's cool.
It's cute.
You guys are going to copy it. That's all you want to do.
It's just cute.
The number I had originally on this game was 7.5.
Really?
Is that right?
That's what I had. So it's obviously moved a little in the direction of Chicago. I wonder why.
Mm-hmm. You think they know something?
Maybe they know something. Maybe they know that Keenan Allen is going to get like 92 targets and Minnesota can't cover him. So it's really hard. I do think that Minnesota's going to score lots of points. If it was 7.5, I would take Chicago, but it's 6.5. So I'll take Minnesota.
Wow.
So we're in agreement on 2 of the games, all 3 of us, right? And then the only disagreement
Go
is
Seahawks.
Seahawks. I have Gerby and I have
because someone hates Christmas.
Green Bay over Seattle, and you have Seattle over Green Bay, right? That's the difference.
Yes.
Interesting.
I think we still have more slots for female participants in the extravaganza.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
So,
Well, maybe put a couple men in the pictures besides Dan. I'm not saying he's not a big draw, but maybe.
well, one lady seems to like him.
I can't even believe that. I am so I don't think I've been militant enough about insisting that you remove my likeness from your site because I want nothing to
Well, you know who my lawyer is, Dan. Go ahead.
wash my hands and my feet of you.
Well, Merry Christmas. That's what I had to say, and go Packers.
It's not Christmas yet. We got like 2 weeks. He's gone.
Did he leave?
I think so.
Unless he's just not talking. Bottom of the hour pause. No Ben Gessling when we come back because we're moving Ben to Monday at this very same time, 4:30 from, we would assume, the People's Stadium. Lavelle at about 5:30. I've got a mishmash, kind of a combo platter half hour coming up next, including some controversy out of the A section. Stay tuned.
Time now for the Vikings Report on The Fan, presented by Miller Lite. Vikings safety Cam Bynum joins Barrero next after this from Miller Lite.
We had mentioned at the start of the program that Randy Moss had intended at 4 o'clock to offer up via his Instagram page, whatever we call it these days, perhaps an update on his medical condition. And in fact, he has made an announcement via Instagram, I think right after 4 o'clock Central Time, to his 640,000 plus followers. And he revealed that he's been in the hospital for the last 6 days dealing with surgery related to a cancer diagnosis. He says that doctors recently discovered a cancerous mass, quote, in the bowel duct right between the pancreas and the liver, end quote. After he noticed some discoloration in his urine, he stated that he first had a procedure to deal with the issue on Thanksgiving before going on to have a bigger surgery this week to remove the growth. They found it and got it, is the way Moss put it. He described himself in the video as a cancer survivor. He did say he will have to go through some chemo and some radiation as well. Thanked family, friends, supporters, and prayer warriors. Urged everyone to go to randymoss.com, buy his Team Moss merchandise, as some of the proceeds will go to helping the fight against cancer. God bless you all. Thank you for all the thoughts and prayers. So there you have it. So a confirmation that he's dealing with more than something trivial by any stretch of the imagination. Perhaps we will learn in coming days a little bit more detail on what the 47-year-old Moss might be, the challenges, I guess, he might be facing and what the road ahead might be. Now, you'll recall there was some controversy on this story because of what Fitzy Sr. had tweeted out, that in Fitzy's case, Fitzy Sr. had said it was liver cancer, correct? That's what the term he used. And he went with thoughts and prayers. He got ripped for going public. And Moss's son flat out denied that that's what he was dealing with. Fitzy Jr. admonished his father as well. And so that's as much as I have gleaned from the media reports. I don't know if you went with any of the sound, or we're going to play a little bit, may play a little bit of the sound later. But that's the information that we have. So that certainly still sounds pretty sobering, right? What kind of prognosis there is when you're in that sort of situation, I don't know. I don't know if there's, again, the issue of how early you found it, where that enters into it. There's so many open questions that one could have. I was talking to you earlier in preparation for this about the whole thing. Kind of reminded me of the Walter Payton story. It was hard to believe, but it was 25 years ago. 25 years ago that Sweetness had a press conference. No, I should say that's when 25 years ago is when he died of cancer. He had a press conference in which he sort of. This goes back to Feb 2 of 1999, that same year. He ended up passing away, I believe, on November 1, 1999. But in February of that year, he gave a press conference. And at that point, he looked very frail. He'd lost a bunch of weight, if you'll recall. And I do recall it well. It was hard to even recognize him. And he was also jaundiced at the time. And he announced his condition. He had what was classified as a rare liver disease. He'd been diagnosed with something I'd never heard of previously called primary sclerosing cholangitis. Am I pronouncing that right? PSC. That was in 98. A disease that affects only 3 in 100,000 people, and that led to cirrhosis and liver failure. It sounds as if the Moss story is very different in that regard, and hopefully we'll have a much better ending than the Sweetness story did, because it was bad. And in fact, in Peyton's case, the original plan, if you'll recall, and Peyton, by the way, was 45 years old. Randy is 47?
Yeah.
In Peyton's case, the original plan was, in fact, he was diagnosed, I believe, at Mayo Clinic. And the original plan was, okay, you're going to get on a list for a new liver. And then the complication was he developed cancer. And as I understand it, looking back and reading at the time what was written, was that some of the follow-up treatment that he was going to have, the chemo treatment, would not work in his case. Some of the drugs he was going to have to be given would actually not work, given once the cancer diagnosis was confirmed, which ended up being part of his story. And we've said it a million times that we know that athletes being famous are not the only people who every day get, sobering diagnoses and prognoses on what they might be dealing with. But when you're in the public eye, when you're prominent, and let's be honest, when you are that age, there's going to be more of a reaction, more of a visceral reaction. When you think of Peyton, especially, I would say, maybe more than any football player ever, what do you think? Tough, indestructible, right? I mean, that was the nature of the way he ran. He was not a particularly elusive runner. He was just a hard runner. I mean, he could make people miss occasionally, but he would go through people. He'd twist, he would break tackles. But almost seemingly welcoming the contact, right? And the idea that somebody who went about his craft that way could be stilled, could be devastated by this sort of affliction and take away so much of his body, take away of so much of who we think he was, it's always going to have a greater impact. Age and what you do. There's the sense of more indestructibility. And, of course, in the case of Randy Moss, more than anything else, what do you think of with him as a player? Athlete. Randy Moss was an athlete, right?
Could do things nobody could do.
Could do things nobody could do. Could move like very few wide receivers ever could. Could catch balls that very few other people could get to, and could do it all very effortlessly. So that's where we are at with the story. I mean, it sounds perverse to say it, but on the basis of what had been written previously and what even Fitzy Sr. had tweeted out, that almost set the tone for worst case scenario. I'm no doctor. This sounds as if it's not worst case. It almost sounds better than it would have sounded if there had not been any of these previous rumors out there.
Right.
To that extent, as odd as it sounds, maybe it sounds better. Now, that I don't want to go crazy with that, because it still sounds like he's got pretty serious issues that you are indeed dealing with here. Anything you can add to what we heard from him regarding the medical side of this thing?
Yeah, when you say you have a surgery, and he's calling himself a cancer survivor, and we've made it through, and he's obviously got some more treatment to go through, but it all seems like it's pretty positive news from what it could have been. He said that he noticed some discoloration when he was going to the bathroom, right? Mm-hmm. I was reading, I'm not sure if you mentioned that.
I did mention that, but it's worth mentioning again.
Yeah, and went and got checked out. They did a bunch of tests, and they caught it seems like, in a decent spot. And so they were able to do this operation and do whatever they needed to do. A willow procedure, I guess, is what he calls it, or what they call it. And so it's just, he wants to remind people, don't be a hero. If something's a little off, go get checked out, which I think is a good message to remind everybody about.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And as I mentioned, I think my guess is we may get a little bit more information, if not regarding his specific condition, about these conditions, right? Specifically, how difficult they are to beat. What we've obviously seen so many changes when it comes to cancer. And apparently it was Thanksgiving Day that he underwent a 6-hour procedure, has been in and out of the hospital since, and that he will continue to receive radiation treatment in coming weeks. His plan is to come back, obviously, to ESPN too. So bile duct originated, according to Moss. Moss said during the Instagram broadcast that it originated in his bile duct, and that might have led to some of the confusion between what Fitzy Sr. wrote and Thaddeus Moss. I think that's his son, right? Thaddeus, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Played at LSU.
True. That may well be part of it as well. So, in any case, we'll do some digging, and we may even we tend to sometimes hear from the medical community via the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line as well, that can give us, like I said, maybe more. I'm not interested in anybody trying to diagnose him because they haven't examined him, but more generally about what this sort of cancer is about, how aggressive it is, how challenging it might be and what some of the hurdles are, because it still sounds to me like this is going to be a very tough battle, a very, very difficult battle as well. Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line is open, 64686. Do you remember? Do you remember seeing the video with Walter? Was very emotional because at the press conference, he this is the other thing that, and I think for a lot of people, this was a really human moment for Walter. But he basically said, I think the exact quote was, somebody must have asked him this question about being, how scared are you? And he said, am I scared? Hell yeah, I'm scared. Wouldn't you be scared? But it's not in my hands anymore. It is in God's hands. And eventually, I believe that same press conference, he said, if you're someone who is of the mind of doing it, please pray for me. If you're not, that's okay too. I'm not going to be mad at you. But what came up, what was so emotional about that press conference was how diminished he seemed, and how defeated how human he seemed, which of course he is. But again, I can't think of another player who almost seemed to sneer at the concept of the violent nature of the game, or what the game is supposed to do to people, or contact, or the violence of it, or the challenge of it. And that's where the juxtaposition of that sweetness, that Walter Payton, the indomitable guy, suddenly reduced by a very savage and aggressive condition and disease, made it such an emotional moment. There may not, in Chicago, there's not a more beloved. I don't think there's there are very few, if any, more beloved athletes ever, right? He's got to be right at the top of the list. Very close to the top of the list.
Ernie Banks.
Yeah, he's on that. He's on that. He's definitely on that Mount Rushmore. And the interesting thing about Randy is, I think, the obvious, that if I think back to occasionally difficult and tense moments in locker rooms during the week after games, from a media standpoint, that involved Randy Moss. And I'd have said, or the group of us would have said, you know what? Someday he's going to be on that ESPN panel, making a pretty good living, analyzing National Football League games. We'd go, you out of your mind. It's not. No. That's not. He has no interest in that. He's not going to play that kind of game. And it goes to show you that you never know, right? And sometimes the guys who are seen at the time they play the most sort of surly about the media, anti-media, they end up maybe figuring some things out and saying, well, I like staying around the game, and they like listening to me, so what the hell, I'll do it.
How interesting has Bill Belichick been this year?
That's right, exactly. Well, in fact, in Belichick's case, at North Carolina, they said he's going to keep doing some of those things. Yes. I don't know how much he's going to hold to that, or be held to that, but that's what they're saying. But in Moss's case, I couldn't have been more gobsmacked that he'd be a guy that eventually, the guy who used to call me Baldy, and didn't always, and once called in to Mike Tice Live to a program here, would eventually, I think, go to another phase that I think, don't you think, to a certain extent, softened him, that gave people a sense of another side of Randy Moss, and very effectively and very successfully. And here's the other part that I always got a kick out of. He seemed to be getting a kick out of doing that job. He seems to actually enjoy what he's doing when he's on that panel, does he not?
He does. I mean, even in the surly moments, he has a remarkable personality.
Correct. There's no question.
That's part of the reason why when it was going good, it's fun to be around him,
a great force of personality.
Yeah.
Correct.
So if he wanted to do TV or radio or whatever, he was always going to be good at it.
I just never thought he'd give it. He'd say, I'm not. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to waste my time with that, and I don't need to do that.
Right. But he's great at it because he's got a great personality, and he obviously knows the game inside and out. So I think it's football's better, I think, with him around because he is such a force of a personality. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, there's no question about that. We'll get Lavelle's reaction at about 5:30. We'll get into other things with him. As I mentioned, Ben Gessling, 4:30 regular, has been moved this week to help us preview the Monday night game. He'll join us on Monday at 4:30. So let's do this. Let's prepare. You got some stuff for the top 5 at 5?
I sure
Can you put
do.
some stuff together? What do you got?
I sure do. We're going to talk Wild. We're going to talk Wolves, finally back in action tonight. And when the Pohlads, Dan, made the announcement that they were considering selling the team or that the team was up for sale, we all asked for home run wild card owners. We want our Steve Ballmer. Has a Steve Ballmer-like family emerged?